Hey YouTubers, well I got another video review for you. So today's review is going to be from a company called PROYAMA. They make a lot of outdoor power equipment, weed eaters, blowers, things like that. And so they just come out with this new 62cc chainsaw. So if you're wondering, the box that I just took off of this box was box number 2. This thing come in 3 boxes. Come in a huge box, and then it come in this one that I just threw off to the side, and then it's in this box. And so, you know, if you're worried about, packaging and the saw getting destroyed, I don't think that it's possible. So you can see that PROYAMA has got a new look for their chainsaws. It's got some gray on it, where before it was just all bright orange, and it has a 1-year warranty. So it is made in China, but I gotta say I've been very pleased with everything that I've gotten. The backpack blower that I got was really powerful. All the brush cutters and all the weed eaters and things like that, they've all been very powerful. They start easy. So, the made in China stuff is, really gotten a lot better over the last few years. Now, like I said before, this here is the 62cc, 3.5 horsepower. It is a single cylinder 2-stroke, calls for 87 or higher octane rating gas, and it's got a 520 milliliter capacity gas tank. As far as your oil, I usually run the Echo oil 40-to-1 mixture, and it's got your different spark plugs listed on here. I'll list those down in the description. Your spark plug gap is 0.02. It's like it comes with an 18-inch bar and a 22-inch bar, and your chain is a 3/8 pitch, and it's a 0.058 gauge, and it's 64 drive links on the 18-inch bar and 72 drive links on the 22-inch bar. There's the 18-inch bar, and this is the 22-inch bar. And I gotta say, the bars from PROYAMA, I've never had any problems out of them. I know some of the other cheaper chainsaws, usually the little sprocket, I'll go bad. Little sprocket gear down there, I'll go bad. I've never had any problems. There's a chain, and then let's see, got a little mixing jug for your gas and oil. You got a scrunch tool and some Allen keys, and you've got your different tools down in there. You've got hearing protection, and this is one thing with PROYAMA, they always give you a bunch of extra stuff, so it's not like they just throw the chainsaw in there and you need to buy more and more stuff. You really don't. You've got another chain here. You've got the side cover, and this is made out of magnesium, so it's lighter weight. Then you've got your sheath, then you got your face shield, and you got to put it together. It comes in those 3 pieces, and I know it looks cheap, but it actually is pretty decent. Now it does come with these gloves, and they are cheap. They're just cheap gloves, but hey, they were free. Then you got your information, and then you got the power head. And I'm gonna get some measurements for you, tell you what all it weighs. And I think online, I think it says 14 pounds, but we're gonna test that, so stay tuned. All right, guys, I thought you guys might like a good laugh, but as you can see, I know I look like a goofball in this stuff, and I'll probably be deaf by the time I'm 50, because I hate wearing hearing protection. It drives me crazy. But you can see they'll fit on my big old melon-sized head. And the face shield's actually pretty nice. It's pretty lightweight. It does have a sweat band here in the front, but yeah, this is not bad. I've had some of these from PROYAMA before. It's going to keep stuff from just flying back and hitting you in the face, just small limbs and things like that. Now these work, and I mean, there's really no frills about them, but again, they're free. I do recommend wearing them. I just don't wear them myself, just because I never have. And I don't even like wearing gloves when I'm working outside. I know I'm weird, but as far as the gloves go, like I said, they are kind of cheap. I mean, they're decent gloves for wearing with a chainsaw, I guess, but is it something that I would personally use? Probably not. But do they fit? Yes. And are they gloves, and are they free? Yes, and yes, and yes. So, it's nice to have them if you was to need them, but for me, I probably won't use them. But this is all stuff that you can have just for PPE, just to have it on hand if you do need it. And you know, again, it's free, so, and it does work. So I'm gonna set it aside. So I've had a chance to look over the saw and all the stuff that come with it for just a few minutes. And as far as assembly goes, there's not a whole lot of assembly that needs to take place. You do have to install the felling dogs here on the front of the chainsaw. You can see these little spiky pieces of metal, and they just bolt on, and then they give you the tool to bolt them on with. Now it's a Torx head on the end of it. I went ahead and just stuck them up there, and the threads lined up. There was no cross threading or none of that. That's one thing I have noticed, you know, with some of that cheap Chinese stuff. I was always scared to get any of it, just simply because, you know, I didn't want to deal with misaligned holes and, you know, bolts not threading in all the way, or something stripped out. And I've never had to have that issue with the PROYAMA stuff. As far as like the tools, they give you pretty much everything that you could need except gas and oil. And then as far as like the side cover, and you can see that, you know, it seems to be made of good quality. And with this particular saw, they give you these little gaskets, and the gaskets fit on the side of the chainsaw, and this just helps with the oiling. And then you put your bar on, and that just helps, you know, the oil come through there, and, you know, keeps the oil from just running down the saw. It actually makes a gasket seal, so the oil is directed to the chain, and you know, it's not dry. All right, guys, so I just want to get some measurements for you. This is the power head on the scale, the 18-inch bar and chain, and then the side cover. I'm just going to prop it up right here, and it says 14.6 pounds. Now, if you're running the larger 22-inch bar, then let me get you a weight there. It's not going to be much different. It's 15.1 pounds. So now on the PROYAMA website, it said 14 pounds. So it's right in the ballpark. Anyways, and that is without any gas or oil. So I'm going to show you start to finish how to put the little gasket on here on the side. And you can see that it fits just like this. And you can see there that it's open at the top and the bottom. And then they give you an extra gasket, because they do wear out, you know, taking the bar on and off and replacing the chain and all that. So next, what you want to do is just put the bar on just like that, and you want to slide it towards you. You can see that there's some adjustment there. Pull it back towards the saw here. And then I'm going to take, and I've got the chain laid out right here. You want the cutters on top with the point facing away from you. All right, so the way that I always put my chain on is I go ahead and put the bar on. I go ahead and wrap the chain around the clutch there. And then I move my saw around right here where I can see. I'm sorry, you guys, it's hard for me to put the camera in a good angle and me be able to do this and without getting cut. So what I do next is I go ahead and get the chain lined up down here at the sprocket next. And you can see that it's not up in the groove on the top or the bottom. I put it around the clutch first, get it around the sprocket second, and then I can take the chain on both sides and line it up in that bar in the groove. And I know there's going to be some people out there and say, oh, I do it this way and I do it that way. That's fine, but this is the way I do it, and this is the way I'm comfortable doing it. Go ahead and fix it down here, and then be real careful, because, you know, this thing's really sharp. And once you get it in place, then I just pull the bar out and put tension on the whole thing. You know, it tightens that chain up and it puts tension on it. But now I'm going to go ahead and get the side cover lined up. Now this is a very important step, and what you want to make sure of is this little adjustment peg that's sticking out here on the bottom. You want to pay attention to this little peg because it needs to be adjusted so it fits down in that bottom hole. So when you put the side cover onto these two studs, that little peg should disappear right into that hole there, and that way, you know, you can adjust the tension of the chain, and you know, everything will work properly. So the way that you adjust the tension on this little peg here, which you can move it backwards and forwards, is this little screw head right there. And you know, if you're out in the field, then you can use a little scrunch tool. It's just a flathead screwdriver is all it is. And you can turn that, and whenever you turn that, then it moves this little adjustment peg back and forth. That way you can, you know, get some tension on the chain. Now, what I like doing is just putting it right there on the pegs, and then I look from the bottom. I know it's going to be hard for you guys to see this, but you can see right there at the bottom that peg just pushed right into place. See that little peg right there sticking out? You can see that it disappears into the hole, into the bar. And so it's perfectly adjusted. And you just slide that side cover down on there just like that. And you do not try to adjust the chain and tighten it up till you get the little side cover nuts on. Give me a second to tighten those up just a little bit. And I'm not going crazy with it or anything. I'm just snugging it up. I'm not putting hardly any tension on it. I'm just trying to flatten it out just a little bit. And then what you want to do next is, since that's the side cover is just really loose, you can see that the chain is slack right there. It's not very tight at all, and I need to tighten it up. So what I need to do now is just take, and it shows you right here on the bottom of the saw, it says if you turn it clockwise, then that will tighten it up. And you can see right there, when I turn my saw to show you guys, it loosened my chain up just a little bit. That's fine. We'll fix it here in just a second. And I'm gonna use the little scrunch tool, and I'm gonna start tightening, and you'll see once it starts tightening up that this chain right here will start getting tighter. Up, I can already see it moving. Yep, you can see it's tightening up a little bit. All right guys, so I tightened it up just a little bit more and got all the slop out of it. Now a good rule of thumb is, if you take and pull the chain away from the bar, you want it to where, you know, it's tight enough to where the bottom of the chain right there where the drive link is, you want it to where, you know, it's not any looser than that. So, you know, some people think that that's the perfect tightness. Me, I like it just a hair more, just simply because I know within the first few seconds of running the saw that it's going to loosen up. So you can see right there that it's able to still turn, and it does have some slack in it right there. It's going to loosen up within just the first few seconds of using the saw. But you can see that the chain is not binding or anything like that. It's able to move freely. So I'm going to leave it right in there. All right, so once you get the proper chain tension, then you want to go back and tighten these nuts here on the side cover. And you know, when I say tighten them up, you don't want to go ridiculous and end up breaking the side cover. I mean, this thing it's made to be strong. Like I said, the side cover is made out of magnesium, so it's strong and it's lightweight. But you can break these, and you can buy replacement side covers for these. I think they were around $35 or something like that. I seen on Amazon. But I'm not going super tight with them. I'm just, you know, getting them tight, but not super tight. You know, and you can still move the chain, and you can see when I pull it out that you can still see some slack in there. Like I said, the first few seconds of running this thing, it's going to stretch that chain out a little bit, and it should be right where it needs to be. All right, so that's how you install the bar and the chain and adjust it and all that. Now there's another adjustment screw here on the bottom that I wanted to show you. And you know, a lot of the cheaper saws, you know, don't have this, and this one here has this feature. It's got an oil adjustment screw here on the very bottom. You can see right there, right in there, that there is that screw. And you know, it's got a little thing here. It shows that if you turn it counterclockwise, if you're looking at it from this direction, if you turn it counterclockwise, then it'll add more oil to get to the bar. And then if you turn it clockwise, then it gives it less oil. And so that's pretty neat to be able to adjust that and you know, control the amount of oil that this saw is given to the chain there. And you know, that's pretty neat. All right, now I just wanted to show you where you put your bar and chain oil at. And it's right here on the front. You can loosen it this way. And if you get it tightened too much where, you know, it's hard for you to undo the cap there, you can use your scrunch tool to loosen the cap. You know, bar and chain oil has gotten ridiculously expensive, I think, over the last few years. And if there's a Rural King near you, go there and buy your bar and chain oil. You know, I've found it for, you know, like $6 or $7 on sale there here just recently. I bought like 4 gallons of it because it's like 20 bucks everywhere else. You can't afford to go to Tractor Supply or you know, other places because the price is just ridiculous. If you're wanting some you know, good stuff, then you know, you could buy the Husqvarna oil. I use it. I'll link some in the description down below, and I'll try to find you some cheaper bar and chain oil, you know, some budget stuff. I'll link it in the description. And then, you know, as far as your gasoline, it goes right in here. It's the same thing. You know, if you need to get in here, you can use that to loosen the cap. And you know, it's a 40-to-1 mixture ratio. It calls for 87 octane. And you know, truthfully, I'm not gonna run ethanol gas in here. I put 100% gas in here. Now I wanted to put, you know, a higher octane gas in it, but all I could find was ethanol free 87 octane near me without having to drive out to the marina down here for the boats. I think that they've got 93 ethanol free there. And so anyways, as far as like the gas mixture, I use the Echo Red Armor. This is what I like to use just simply because the steel oil is just way too smoky and it doesn't seem like it runs as good. But this stuff here, you know, it's like $20, but you know, it's well worth it. I've been, you know, having good luck with it. Like I said, it comes with this little toolkit. It comes with, you know, an extra gasket. It comes with a scrunch tool, remove your spark plug if you need to. And then it comes with a little flathead screwdriver there. I guess that's for maybe doing some tuning. And then it comes with this little, it looks like a little carburetor adjusting tool. And then you've got this little Torx key. And this is for putting on the dogs there on the front. I showed you how to use that to install them. And then here they give you a rat tail file, a little chainsaw file. And so I'll tell you what size files you'll need, because I'm sure this one will wear out and you'll need some replacements. I'll link it down in the description for you, along with the different chains and all that. Aftermarket chains, a lot of people like running the better quality chains, but I gotta say the cheaper chains works for me too. Like I said, I'll put some better quality like Oregon chains down in the description. Then I'll put some budget chains down in there. But Amazon's definitely the place to buy your chains. It's the cheapest I've found. And then you know, gives this little set of directions here that tells you which way the gasket goes on the saw there for the bar. So make sure that it gets good oiling and doesn't leak a lot. So they put that in there. Now what I do is I put all my tools in there with that extra gasket, put it all in one place. So that way if you're out in the woods sawing, you don't have to run back to the house and get tools. It's got everything pretty much that you'll need. Like I said, with the exception of gas and oil. And you know, now I'm gonna go ahead and take the extra bar and chain with me, just in case I was to make a rookie mistake and get my saw pinched or something. I could just take the bar off, put another bar and chain on there, and that way I could use this new chain and bar to cut the old one out of the tree. So that is an advantage, you know, having that extra bar and chain. Like I said, I've done it before. Have got my saw pinched in the tree, and you know, it's a pain in the butt, but you know, if you got the wrench to loosen it up and completely take it off and just switch bars until you get it unpinched. But I'm gonna go ahead and put the cover over the chain, but I gotta say, fits in there perfect. And I gotta say, the saw really feels nice. I mean, it's got some good weight to it, and it doesn't feel like it's cheap to me. Now I'm gonna go ahead and pull the air cleaner, little thumb screw right there. You just loosen that up. There we go. And wow, got a pretty nice looking air filter right there. I mean, that looks like a lot of the more expensive chainsaws air filter. Some of the cheaper saws, you know, just has just a flat filter that fits on top. This is actually like a pleated style automotive looking type of filter. So I'm actually pretty impressed. Now I am going to take my scrunch tool and I am going to pull that spark plug just to check it out. I always do that with all the small engines, you know, just to make sure that nothing is stripped out. See what kind of plug they're running. That way I can always, you know, go get me a plug from the part store and have it on hand, or order me one from Amazon. But you can see right there, I was able to break the hold on that spark plug. And this one here is just a cheaper plug. This one here is a Torch L7T. Now, I have used these. They seem to do fine, but I'm a Champion spark plug kind of guy, or NGK. That's what I like to run. And so I'll probably, you know, have me an extra plug on hand, and I'll keep it in my little tool bag here. And so if you guys are interested, I'll put a link down below so you guys don't have to hunt for it. And I'll put, you know, the different plug in the description, and then I'll also put the gap that it needs to be down in the description. That way you don't have to hunt for it. And you know, if you do buy it from my links, it doesn't cost you guys any more money to order it from Amazon, but you know, it might send, you know, 50 cents or $1 my way, just for making these videos. And I try to be as detailed as possible, and that way, you know, not everybody knows how to really use a chainsaw. And I know, you know, getting into such detail, it annoys some people, but you know, a lot of people don't know how to do things anymore. And so, you know, if I can help somebody out and show them something, you know, then I don't mind doing that. So, you know, being an Amazon affiliate and you guys buying from my Amazon links just helps me, keeps me motivated, gives me a few dollars just for making these videos. So I do appreciate anything that you buy from the links, and it helps you guys out too, so you don't have to search for parts. So anyways, like I said, I'm gonna tighten that back up, put the plug wire back on, and we should be good to go. Now you can see that this has got a little lip, and it fits into that hole right there. I don't know how well you guys can see that. It just fits in there just like that. And then you just tighten that little thumb screw up and fits nice and tight. So anyways, you've got your choke right in here, got your primer bulb right there at my finger, and then you got your on and off switch. And then you've got your safety right here. You got to have this mashed down in order to squeeze the trigger. And so we'll see how this baby runs tomorrow. So appreciate you guys watching up into this point. All right, guys, I knew there was something I was forgetting, and I don't want to have to wait and do this tomorrow when it's 100 degrees and I'm out in the middle of the woods. I want to go ahead and get it knocked out now. I meant to grease the sprocket there on the end of the bar, and I've got a couple different grease guns that you can use. You've got these here. These just don't last that long. I mean, I've had some that seem to work great, but this one here, I've only used it just a couple of times, and I guess it leaked some grease out of there, and it's gotten like an oily residue on it. When I went to use it, it just come apart like this. I mean, it just started disintegrating, and that clear plastic that holds the grease, I guess, is starting to deteriorate. But you know, these do work okay, you know, most of the time. But like I said, this one's brand new and it's deteriorated, so I had to go to the Jeep and get this one out of the bed. I keep this one in there. I've got like a chainsaw kit with some bar oil and you know, some grease and just some odds and ends that I might need. But these are just a better, you know, grease gun. These work, but this just seems to work a lot better, and this actually pumps a lot more grease than this one seems to do. All right, so I'm going to show you guys where to grease the sprocket at, and that's right here at the you got the 4 little rivets right in there that just holds the bar together, and then right in here there is a little hole, and that little hole is so you can take, you know, whichever grease gun you choose. If it's this one, you just put it in there like that and push down, and it'll send grease in there. Or you can use this type here, which I prefer. And these are really cheap anyways. They're like under $20, but you put it in there like that, and you kind of hold it down and then just press it. And you can see you mash that little button there and hold this down, and it just kind of sends that grease in there. And see, there's some extra that come out. It's better to do this with, you know, when you can rotate the chain, and that way you can move it over to an area that's not being greased, and you can actually do both sides, you know. So I can put it on there just like that and push hard on it, and that should grease that up pretty good. Like I said, I keep this in the Jeep with us, and I keep it in like a little Ziploc bag. That way there's no chance that it's gonna leak grease or oil and get all nasty like this thing has. So anyways, that's just part of maintenance right there, is greasing that, and you know, keeps that sprocket nice and lubricated. A lot of people just forget about it. And I'll link both of these down below. Again, Amazon affiliate. You know, I don't use nothing that I wouldn't suggest to you guys. You know, if it was a piece of junk, I'd tell you, like I told you about this one. And, you know, I'll try to put maybe a better quality one on there. I've had some of the Oregon ones that done pretty well. And this one here is a Thorstone. I'll try to find this exact one and put it on there, because I've had good luck with this. So anyways, I'll link them both down in the description. And appreciate you guys buying from my links and also watching my videos. So if you would, please take the moment and, you know, please subscribe to the channel, like it, hype it, do whatever you can. Comment down below. Every bit of interaction just helps my channel out and helps my channel grow. So almost to 10,000 subscribers. So maybe by Christmas we'll hit it. See y'all tomorrow. All right, guys, so we're out at the property today. Gotta say, the bag I'm not very impressed with. PROYAMA did have another bag with the other saws that I thought was really nice. It was like a canvas like this bag is here, but then it had like a liner on the inside of it, so it would catch all the oil and keep it from leaking out of the bag. Where this one here, you know, once you get some bar oil on the bottom of it, it's definitely going to leak through this bag. And the handles on this one seem like it's off a little bit, so it just kind of falls, you know, awkwardly. So I mean, don't expect much out of the bag. You know, it's definitely not the older bags that they had, but you know, it does work. Now it might be a little offset because I've got that extra bar right here at the end. That might be one reason why it was a little offset. I haven't checked to see, but you can see. Let's just see if it's still, yeah, it still feels kind of awkward in the hand. But anyways, I'm not going to spend a lot of time on the bag. You know, that's just kind of one of those freebies. But, you know, it is what it is. It does hold your stuff. So, you know, other than that, don't expect too much from it. First things first, I'm going to go ahead and set the chain brake. Nope, you push forward on it and it locks the chain brake, and you could hear that it positively locked, and it's not going to allow the chain to rotate. Now when I pull back, you can see that the chain's able to move back and forth. But to start it, make sure that the chain brake is on. We've got to go ahead and fill it up with some gasoline. I went ahead and mixed my gasoline 40 to 1. Actually, I mixed just a little bit stronger than 40 to 1, just simply because it's brand new engine, and you know, I don't want to mix it too strong and, you know, foul the plug out or anything, but I do like for that first time to mix it just a little bit stronger than the 40-to-1. This is your gas tank, and if you ain't got one of these Sure-Can gas cans, pick you up one. They make it a lot easier. I can just take and mash with my thumb and control the flow of gas. These things really do make life a lot easier, and keeps you from spilling gasoline all over the place. And then right here, I went ahead and filled up the bar and chain oil. I used the Husqvarna stuff, you know, but it, like I said, it got too expensive, and so I went and purchased probably about 4 or 5 gallons of the that Rural King bar and chain oil. And if there's not a Rural King near you, like I said, I'll put a link down below to some, you know, more inexpensive bar and chain oil. I'll try to find some on Amazon that's probably a pretty decent quality, and I'll link it down below if you guys need some. And then I'll also put that Echo oil in there as well. And so next we're gonna go ahead and start the chainsaw for the first time. When you get the chainsaw, it does have some, you know, quick startup papers here, and you can see this one here. It says how to start the chainsaw with a cold engine, how to start it with a warm engine, and then this one says how do you check the spark, and then this one here shows you how to attach the chain and the guide bar. So we're going to start with this one right here, how to start a cold engine. And number 1 step, move your chain brake lever fully forward to lock the chain brake before starting. Number 2, it says push the purge bulb at least 35 times or until the bulb is full of fuel. So we're going to go ahead and do all this together. Just going to set it right here on the back of the tailgate. Like I said, I've got the chain brake engaged. So here's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. We're going to do 7. 7 was the first time that I heard it completely fill up with fuel. Next, it said stop start switch. Put it in the run position, and down is stop, and mashing it to the top is run position. Pull the starter rope slowly, just a little bit, 10 to 15 centimeters until you feel some resistance. Then pull the starter handle firmly and rapidly until the engine first pops. It says do not pull over 10 times to avoid flooding. If 10 pulls are reached, proceed as inexperienced user may miss the pops. I guess their English is not so great there, but let's go ahead. We're going to go ahead and pull the choke out till you hear the click. There's that click. And then now I'm just going to slowly pull on it until I feel that resistance. I might have to actually set it down because this saw's got a little bit more compression than some of the other saws that I'm used to running. All right. All right. Right here on the tailgate, and I'm going to see if it's if the bar is getting oil. So we'll see if it splashes some oil on the tailgate. Went to check and see if it was distributing oil right here on the tailgate, and at first it wasn't distributing a whole lot, so I had to adjust that oiler screw on the bottom of the chainsaw, and it'll show you which way to turn it for more oil or less oil. And so I just turned it up, and you can see right here that it shot a line of oil straight out, and it's oiling really good now. So reason you want it to oil is so don't burn that chain up, and it's well lubricated. And that's way it's not too hard on that bar and the chain, and you know, just keeps that resistance as low as possible, running smoothly, and don't get too hot. So anyways, so the chainsaw's been running. We've not cut any trees yet, but I just wanted to sit here and let it run, and that way we can see if is it going to start back very easy. I mean, I know it started cold really easy, but now that it's gotten hot, let's see if it cranks back. So you turn it off by mashing that red button there, and then if you want to crank it back, you got to turn it back on. You don't have to mess with the choke or any of that. You just go back and crank it. You see, it cranked up pretty good. So. Alright guys, so we're out here on the property. We're going to cut this first tree, and you can see it's dead, but it's leaning into 2 or 3 other trees here. And you know, we work over there in this area cleaning out the brush sometimes. I don't want this thing just to fall on us. It'd really hurt us, you know, if it fell on us. It's a pretty heavy tree. It might be dead and starting to rot, but it's still very dense. But anyways, I'm gonna go ahead and cut it. And you know, the saw's already warm, so here we go. We're gonna see how good this thing runs. My first cut, when I went through there, you know, it went through there pretty good, and I seen the tree was starting to pinch a little bit, and I was about to make it all the way through, and so I thought, well, I'm gonna go ahead and make another cut right here, and that way it'll just break on through. Well, when I made that second cut, I seen there was some sparks flying, so there's definitely probably some metal in this tree. I don't know, somebody had something, some nails or a sign or something to it, but probably gonna have to, you know, touch the chain up later. Probably should do it now, but you know, I'm not going to. But black ink's poured out of this thing when I started cutting it, and I'm gonna try to just push it over right now. That way I don't have to deal with trying to cut through the metal. I'm gonna leave that one alone. I got another little dead one here, and what I'm doing is trying to, you know, turn the saw off each time, let it heat up and get real hot, and see, literally put it to the test. And so we're just gonna turn it back on and cut this little dead one down right here. But watch how easy it starts. Alright guys, got another little tree here. Not a very big one, but it's ugly, it's leaning real bad. And so we just want to kind of get this one out of our way. That way we get it on the ground, let Mother Nature do its course and rot it out. And so here we go. 22-inch bar on there, you know, if you're tall like me, I'm 6'1", it really does help you and give you that added length so you don't have to bend down as far. It's a little bit easier on the back. Now that's all I'm gonna do with that tree. It had a lot of vines and stuff in it, but as you can see, it's making contact with the ground for most of the heavy part of the trunk. Over time, that other will rot down. But this thing really does cut good. I've not tackled anything real big yet. I mean, we'll look around for a few minutes to see if we can find something bigger. Can see it cut through there with ease. Now, you know, it seems to have plenty of power to cut. You know, this tree here is probably, I don't know, 10 inches, and so it cut through that. It's a oak and didn't seem to have any problems. Now, let's say you get a tree and it's hardwood and you need a little bit more power. You could always switch, put that smaller bar on there, and that should pump up the power just a little bit more. But it seems to have plenty enough power with the 22-inch bar, and the thing starts and stops really easy. Don't have any problems with that. It's hot, and I'll show you. Now it does take a little bit of, you know, oomph to pull it, because it does have some good compression. I can definitely tell that. But let's cut a few more pieces, get it really hot, and then try to start it again. That's just the main thing that's really important to me, is making sure they start and run good before I tell you guys, you know, hey, this is great saw. So So we've got a little walk back to the truck over there, and I'm gonna let it heat soak for a few minutes. Then when we get right back over there, I'm gonna try to crank it with it super hot. All right, guys, so I just wanted to tell you before we run back to the Jeep there, that the reason that we're clearing you know, property is because we are building a house in North Georgia, and you know, we got about a little over 10 acres. And so we're just going through here right now, cleaning out the land for, you know, just to make sure that we've got some no trespassing signs around the perimeter. And sorry about the shaky camera work. There was a hornet come over there near my camera girl here, and she got a little jumpy. But you can see we've already cleaned out and put us in no trespassing signs and all that kind of goodness. So make sure you watch some of our other videos, and you know, we're gonna take you along, show you some of the, you know, ins and outs of, you know, building a house, building driveway, you know, some homesteading, gardening, just a little bit of everything. And it's gonna take us some time, but we'll get there. So I'm gonna go ahead and run back to the Jeep. All right, guys, so we made it back to the Jeep, and boy, I'm huffing and puffing. Gosh, it is hot here in Tennessee. Well, I'm sorry, we're in Georgia now. But yeah, we're fixing to crank this thing up. It's super hot. So here we go. Crank every time, guys, on the first pull. I'll show you here on the tailgate again that it's oiling really good. You can see right there that it shot oil. So I gotta say, my first thoughts of the saw is It's got good power, and for the price, it's a hell of a deal. That's a really good deal on that saw. To have the 2 bars, 2 chains, and 62 cc's. This thing's pretty powerful. Really shocked, as always, with the PROYAMA stuff. I tell you, this thing really does do really well. And if you're looking for a chainsaw that you don't want to spend a lot of money on, but you know, still works good, starts good, oil's good, and can do everything the other bigger name brand saws can do at a fraction of the price, you know. Now, this is not a longevity review, because literally I don't know how long this thing will last. I mean, it could die tomorrow, but I've had some of my PROYAMA stuff for several years now, and I've never had any problems out of it. Now when we did have one of the brush cutters with a pole saw attachment here in the bed of the truck, and something hit into the gas tank and busted it. You know, it was our mistake. I think a fence post hit it, or one fence post driver hit it. But other than that, you know, that was our fault. Yeah, but seems to be a good chainsaw. So I highly recommend it. So I appreciate you guys watching. I'll link it down in the description. I'll also link it to I'm an Amazon affiliate. So if you buy from my link, it doesn't cost you guys any more money, but it'll take you right to this product, so you don't have to search for it. Number 2, I'll go down through there and put the different chains that you'll need, the different spark plugs you need, the gap, and all that. It'll all be linked down below. And anyways, thanks for watching, guys. Appreciate it. And make sure you like and subscribe to my channel. Hit that hype button, comment. Every bit of that helps. And until next time, see ya.